Hey everybody, welcome once again to DVD Tuesday, the only DVD review show which has rapidly run out of Japanese live action films to talk about, and is therefore just going to switch to an anime film that would probably be appreciated by people who like live action films anyways. This is one of the more broad and accessible and adult pieces of anime out there, but one that is not talked about as much as other stuff of its ilk, which is Memories, a 3-part collection of short films that are pretty fucking good. The first of them is a film directed by Koji Morimoto, who did part of the Animatrix and probably some other shit I'm forgetting. I think he works with Studio 4C, which is Magnetic Rose, and it was written by Satoshi Kon, and it was the first anime written by Satoshi Kon. Like, this was before he even directed Perfect Blue and Millennium Actress and, his other films. So it's one of the first forays into Satoshi Kon being a writer, and I mean, it feels very Kon-esque, so if you're a fan of him, check this out. And I mean, regardless of him not directing it, the film is gorgeously directed and unbelievably beautifully animated. It's a sci-fi film about a team of astronauts, like, going into an abandoned space station, and basically a bunch of trippy shit happens, sort of like an Event Horizon kind of deal. But it's interesting. I would guess I would call it not really horror so much as a ghost story, like a classical ghost story tale, with some really haunting imagery and a Yoko Kanno soundtrack. So all kinds of really big titans, of the industry were sort of working on this thing. There's tons of impressive credits on these 3 films. So yeah, Magnetic Rose is probably the most famous of these. It's the one that's like got the most interesting sci-fi twist and the most beautiful animation. But I think my personal favorite is actually the second short film, which is Stink Bomb, which was directed by Tensai Okamura, who would later go on to direct Wolf's Rain and Darker Than Black. What was something he did recently? I don't know. He does a lot of work with Bones and stuff. And Tensai Okamura, I think what else did he do? He wrote something important. I don't know. I'm not going to get bogged down in that. Did he direct Blue Exorcist? Maybe? I don't remember. Anyway, he directed this short called Stink Bomb, which is a comedy short about just a guy who stinks so badly that it's causing major problems for everyone. And the whole thing is basically a long chase scene that causes epic scale destruction, and it's really goofy and hilarious, and worth watching just for fun. It definitely doesn't have the depth and weight and like artistic beauty that Magnetic Rose has, but it's a damn good time and still gorgeously animated. And then the third short film is by Katsuhiro Otomo, the director of Akira, who put together this project in the first place. And his is a really odd, bizarre short, because the art style is, like, not his, so it's odd seeing a Katsuhiro Otomo piece with a different kind of art, and it's very not anime. It's very, like, weird and, like, Russian looking or something. And it's this really bizarre art style and also a bizarre directing style, because it's sort of like one continuous camera pan through different parts of this city. And it's about a city that exists solely to fire cannons at an unknown enemy. The whole city is just a bunch of cannons everywhere, firing endlessly. And it's just about the people, like, in this town working on these cannons. And the camera just kind of pans weirdly between all these different locations and stuff. It's an interesting short. Sort of like I guess, sort of satirical in the way that a lot of Otomo's work is. So all 3 are very interesting films and very different and not quite like anything else you've seen. And they've got that beautiful mid-90s going all out on the animation shit that, like this, you put this in a fucking catalog with Ghost in the Shell and Perfect Blue, and no one's gonna blink, especially with Magnetic Rose, because it feels like, one of those films. It feels like that kind of 90s art house adult cinema with lots of effort put into it. So, if you are a fan of those movies and you haven't seen this, you should. I mean, if you're someone who just likes good classy anime, then check this out. But also, if you were in a situation where you wanted to throw on a film, like something short that could like to a crowd of people who maybe aren't the most anime fan people, more of like a film buff crowd, this will impress, and do so in a few short chunks of time. Again, Magnetic Rose is by far the most like accessible one, but I think Stink Bomb is fucking hilarious, and Cannon Fodder is definitely fucking weird. So if you like shit that's fucking weird, check that out. And that's it for this episode. I'll see you next week.